Hi, I'm Maria Leali with Synchronous Solutions, back here with Rick Phelps for part 4, our final in this series of how your fabrication shop makes money. Rick, let's hear it.
All right, welcome to the P's and Q's problem, part 4, the final installment. You'll remember in part 2, and if you haven't done part 2, you need to do it. Otherwise, this will make no sense. But back in part 2, we were excited about selling peas in the neighboring city, just a couple hundred miles away because it wouldn't impact the market, but we had to sell at a discount at 20%. And the answer was, yeah, that's not a good idea because the octane or throughput dollars per constraint minute at B, the constraint, was $1.80 versus the $2 locally with Q. So if you were actually to do that, you would make less money. Not a good business decision. But that wasn't the end of it, because the idea of setting up an outpost in a neighboring city just wouldn't go away, right? And so they quit messing around and went out and bought a second processing station, hired a new trained operator for Station B, and the processing Station B, the machine costs $100,000, and the operator adds $400 per week, just like the other operators. So question is, how much money can we make now? How many weeks to pay off the new machine? As always, it's best to pause the video now and think this problem through and maximize your learning. So here's the picture of what this is going to look like. The fabricating shop has 24 hours a minute per week. There are now 2 folks and 2 stations for B, and the demands at for P's are 100 in each location, and the sales prices are 90 and 72, 180 for Q's, demands 50. So here's the problem. Here's the shop. Very similar to exercise 1. Let's see if you can apply what you learned in the first session to this problem. Good luck. Take your time. Don't continue the video until you've done the work. If you really want to learn and retain anything from this series, you really need to do the homework. So with that, I'll let you get at it, and good luck. All right, welcome back. First question you needed to answer, like we did in the first problem, was can you make all the units? In this case, 300 units. So we look at P's locally, P's in the neighboring city, Q's locally, Q's neighboring city, and how much time it takes at process center A versus how many minutes are available. And we see right off the bat, we got a problem at A. We need 4,000 minutes to process everything, and we don't have that. At B's now, we have available 4,800. We need 6,000. So there's another red flag, right? In fact, we are short of what we're required and what we're available all the way across the board. Now, if you look at it, the shortage on A is greater. You need more capacity from A than you need of the others. So it's going to be your constraint. And so the problem has shifted significantly. Right? You are no longer B constrained, you're A constrained. And that means all the math changes. And by the way, this is why we work very hard when we have the constraint established in a shop to keep it where it is, because having to rethink all of your strategies is challenging, to say the least. All right, so we now have a new constraint. We can look at it as process A. We do the same analysis we did before. Should we make P's or Q's? Turns out now Q's have the highest throughput dollar per unit of time at A at $6. And again, we got there by revenue minus cost of goods sold. gives us our throughput dollars, the number of minutes at A. For Q's was 10. So Q's locally generate $6. Q's neighboring city generate $4. P's locally generate $3 a minute at the constraint, and P's north are still at $1.80. And so what products are most profitable in your business just completely turned on its head. And recognizing this is an important factor. So your profitabilities are Q's locally, Q's in the neighboring city, P's, and then P's in the neighboring city. So we look at this and we say, all right, we're going to make Q's first locally, Q's in the neighboring city. How much time do they consume? P's, how much time do they consume? And we end up with an additional net profit of $2,485. That's a pretty good move, which means with a 928% increase in net profit, you've got a 41-week payoff on that new machine, because that $100,000 divided by 2,485 T dollars, that's, remember, the dollars that stay in the business, that's simply 41 weeks. And that's how you answer the question of how do you get a return on a machine and what analysis you need to do it when your constraint shifts. So hopefully you struggled with this problem and came up with this answer. If you did not, go back through the math, think it through, and pull as many lessons about how your business makes money as you can out of this. If you have any questions, as always, reach out. We're always glad to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. This was super helpful. I've never seen the constraint shift like that before. That was super interesting.
Yeah, there's always a catch.
Yep. Mr. T Dollars always throwing us surprises.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the constraint changing and upsetting everything we thought we knew, right? That's a real kick in the, you know what, yeah. Because kick in the butt. And it happens, right? And it happens not only when we buy new machinery and we're not planning it, but it also happens as the markets and the demand shifts. So, we see a shift towards the ultra compact surfaces, the Decton, the porcelains and stuff. That changes the dynamics of the shop. It changes the relative profitability of things. And so it's really important that these lessons are understood and we don't just blindly go into the future thinking that nothing's changed, because things can change significantly and they have a huge impact on how money flows through the business. So.
Awesome. Thanks again, Rick.
All right. Take care.